A revolutionary. Say whoa. Trap revolutionary. Got the wave of too scary. Doing this thing like Malcolm ain't by any means necessary. We ain't got it by no one seen hand. We got the master plan. Get the move. What's going on, y'all? Y'all want to do this video real quick. Man, just really talk about, kind of further along with the, further talk about the Nolan Wells situation. And I also just I was just thinking about the topic on racism, man. Like, it seems like, as they say, old habits die hard. The results, autopsies, I was actually like researching to see, they had his autopsy results. They haven't got anything back yet, but, I was just thinking on how, in this country, man, racism has just, it's divided us, man, as a people so far, that when certain things happen to us as a people, as Black people, it seems like that comes out. Some form of racism, some form of our favoritism towards other groups comes out, man. This is something that, it's sad that, that it's a problem. It's so, the racism is so deeply rooted, in this country that it's just like, it's damn near impossible to let it go. And I had, stated in the video before that as Black people, we don't, hate people just to hate people. We hate the things that have been done to us as a people, you know what I'm saying, because of racism, and the concept of racism was basically created in the 15th, 16th century, to be able to exploit indigenous peoples, whether, Africa, Asia, here in America, to take advantage of indigenous peoples, to take their land, force, voluntary servitude, a number of things, engage in, like I said, transatlantic slave trade. Those things were done, purposely, to create division, so one group could take advantage of the other group, or the indigenous people of, certain lands that, mainly, European people wanted to exploit, so, that's one of the things that was done. And here in America, man, it's deeply rooted in the institution, of this nation, the establishment, of this nation, the founding of this nation. So, when things come up, Kohen Wiley, the young man, like young boy killed in Mississippi, it was like, shot, he's talking about, the young women were stealing out of Walmart, and the young girl, held her baby up, so, hey, it's a baby in the car, please don't shoot. They shot anyway, killed the little boy.
It has become the rallying cry following the death of baby Kohen Wiley filled the West Gilmore Church of Christ Wednesday. Attorney Ben Crump again putting Senatobia and the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation on notice to prove the officer-involved shooting was justified.
They want us to believe that it was a life or death situation, because that's the only way you can justify shooting into a vehicle that there's a baby in that car.
Since the June 14th incident, there has been a loud cry for the release of police video and security video from Walmart that would show the position of the car Kohen Wiley was in when he was shot.
If you saw the video, why can't you show us the video? Unless that video contradicts what you're trying to tell us, and that it was not a life or death situation.
Crump had announced his firm would have an independent autopsy performed to determine the angle at which Kohen Wiley was shot. At Wednesday's press conference, Crump introduced the findings of that autopsy conducted by board-certified forensic pathologist Dr. Roger Mitchell Jr.
We're trying to put together the puzzle so we can get to the truth and transparency of what happened.
By using diagrams and pictures of the car the baby was in with a shattered passenger side window, Crump laid out findings on the trajectory of the shot that hit the baby.
Dr. Mitchell said the shot was from a side, right side, and it went through his body and it exited the left side, not a front or back. So that meant when baby Kohen was shot, this police is shooting from the side. You can't get that shot from the front. And so why would you shoot into a vehicle from the side where you're clearly not in harm's way?
You know, so issues like that, man. Nolan Wells coming up dead. Tamir Rice, man. It's so many, you know what I'm saying? Trayvon, you know. It's just so many things that have came up. And I can go on and on, you know what I'm saying? George Floyd. You know, so that's the issue, that there's always something, you know, that comes up, you know, with our people, you know, Trayvon Martin and other people being killed. It's always some racial issue behind it. You know, it seems like it's always a racial issue behind it, you know, because other groups don't suffer that same fate that black people do, you know. So it's like it's old habits die hard. And it seems like the race issue will not die in this country. You know, we've been through slavery, you know what I'm saying? Been through so much in this country, but it's still an issue. And then people would say, oh, well, you know, you playing the victim, it's all about being a victim. No, it's you know, we're not saying, you know, we're victims or whatever, right? We're not playing victim, you know, but it's always an issue when it comes to, you know, black people. You know, it's always some form of discrimination, prejudice, you know, marginalization, you know what I'm saying, that when it comes to our people, you know what I'm saying? So when people are saying we're complaining, you know what I'm saying, where it's like, no. We talking about evidence, you know. Even if you want to say, you know, us being, you know, free from slavery, you know, even in that sense, you know, it occurred in 18, you know, being emancipated, and then 2 years later, that's what, you know, being celebrating Juneteenth. 2 years later, we found out that we were actually freed, you know, 2 years ago, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's what I'm saying, you know, evidence, you know, we're, you know, free 1863, you know, Emancipation Proclamation signed, then 1865, we find out we're free. You know, 2 years later, you know, and that in itself, you know, is a crime. You know, then along with that, the Reconstruction era, that ends in 1877. Jim Crow laws instituted. And then you have the terror from the Ku Klux Klan. You know, we try to rebuild, then on our own in a segregated, you know, era of segregation, try to build our own, and our towns are burned down. We are displaying excellence. We're doing things to build, to rebuild, you know what I'm saying? But then, you know, our towns are burnt down, you know. So, you know, and that's, you know, you go on and on. Rosewood in Florida, you know, Black Wall Street, you know, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Man, you know, you got Oscarville, buried on a lake. You know, that's when, you know, Lake Lanier, you know, in Georgia. You know, Seneca Village in New York, here in Deep Ellum, they built roadways through Deep Ellum to basically break the strength of that area up. You know, same thing, in New York, also, in Seneca Village, they built a park, there, what I'm saying? In other places, where there were, displays of our people, economically, making progress, economically. So it's a number of things, that has went on, but, and I just wanted to make this video too, because I was going to make another video. I was going to just, talk about another thing that I was, I saw today or whatever that was really cool. That a guy did. He mentioned a brother that actually passed. That he was, his comedy show or whatever. The young lady asked for the video. What I'm saying, because he had highlighted, her father was talking about him. He actually worked for General Motors. If I'm not mistaken, it's probably here. I think he's here in Dallas. The comedian. And the older brother, he had retired from General Motors. So I used to work for General Motors. My homeboy, he sent me that video, but. It was going to pretty kind of make that the main video, but I thought about it, like, man, I really need to further talk about this the racial divide in this country, and it's continued to be further, kind of like pushed further, even with Trump being in office. I'm saying? He ran on a platform of division. That's the best way I can describe it. To get in office, talking about MAGA, make America great again. He wasn't talking about making America great by making the economics of the country great, by coming up with some new ideas and, propelling making further progress in the company. He made it basically a divisive platform, make America great, basically insinuating make America great by basically, rolling back laws, or marginalizing black people, basically. What I'm saying? That's the insinuation of make America great again, what MAGA, was referring to, But anyway, the racism, it needs to stop, man. Like, and I made videos about this as well. What I'm saying? It's like, how can a nation even be great if a fourth or a part of the people in the nation are suffering? What I'm saying? And you're wanting to, marginalize that people simply, I'm talking about no other reason, because of the color of their skin. That is the name. It's ridiculous. And it continues to happen. What I'm saying? People like don't even understand that concept. What I'm saying? It needs to truly be a paradigm shift, because for the nation to be great, all of the people need to be great. All of the people need to be great together. You know what I'm saying? And progressing together, instead of stumping down a marginalized one part, of the population, what I'm saying? Simply because they black. What I'm saying? Simply because of the color of their skin. The whole nation can't progress, And that's how I said, and I was standing on that too. I said that, like, what if we all came together and pulled together as a nation? Everybody enjoyed the prosperity. Everybody was pulling together and trying to make sure everyone in the nation was prosperous. How far we could go, instead of limiting, always limiting one part of the nation simply because of the color of their skin. Black people, because, marginalizing black people and limiting black people because of the color of their skin. So, man, we just need fairness. This is what it is. What I'm saying? It's time for the racism to stop. What I'm saying? I know it's easy said and done, what I'm saying? But old habits die hard. What I'm saying? And that shit need to die. The racism, that racist element of this country, it needs to die, man, and forever, be eradicated, But anyway, man, I'm gonna get up out here. I just want to say that because it's necessary, like I said, in further discussion of, the issue with Nolan Wells and other cases, with black people dealing with racism in this country, man. It's got to stop. I'm saying it's really got to stop, And that old institutional racism, it needs to, like, totally be eradicated. But anyway, man, I'm gonna get up off here. I just want to say that, you know, I appreciate all of y'all out there, you know, to watch my videos, like and comment. You know, like I said before, you know, we can agree to disagree. You know what I'm saying? We disagree, we can hash it out. Just ask y'all to be respectful towards me, come be respectful towards y'all. But, you know, like I said, I hope all of y'all out there doing well, living life for love and happiness. You know, strive for greatness, you know, being great every day, you know what I'm saying? But to the next one, y'all, appreciate y'all. Love y'all. All right, y'all.
Fuck it, go ahead and blow off the dough. Step through the maze, man, and became amazing. About to rewrite history and change a page in a crooked book that never told us the true story. Like how we were kings and queens before the slave story, before the killing, stealing, and drug dealing on some real shit. We ran the world.